MySpace deleted all your stuff, and more, coming up on today's episode of the latest in tech news. Hey Gadgeteer, you're just in time for the latest episode of the world's only 3-in-1 show on tech, gadgets, and gaming news. That's right, this is the latest in tech news. My name is Taylor American. If you're new here, tap or click that subscribe button right now so that you don't miss a single episode. Now, I've done a couple changes that I'm excited about, and one of which is I finally have some transitions. I'm working on one of them. The other one I'm really liking. But yeah, if you're new here, you know, we talk about tech, gaming, gadget news, all the latest, and then some. Usually cover some news that isn't covered, that isn't generally well known. And, you know, if you've been here for a while, well, we do something called trivia, where we have a lot of fun. And, well, speaking of which, let's get to some trivia, shall we? All right. So, last episode, I asked a question. That question was, when did Ninja play a game of Fortnite with Drake? And looking at the answers, I got none. So, suffice it to say, this is still anybody's match. Anybody, even you, right now, watching or listening, could be the right winner, first winner, guesser. What you might even get the whole thing. You never even know. But yeah, I asked that question on last episode, which is Friday, and that question apparently just flew right over everybody's head. How many of you play Fortnite? Raise your hand if you play Fortnite. Okay, raise your hand if you know who Ninja is. Tyler Ninja Blevins, crazy hair dude from Chicago. Ring a bell? Well, he played a game of Fortnite with Drake, and it just so happened that the date that episode was recorded was the 1-year anniversary of him playing a game of Fortnite with Drake. The correct answer to last episode's question was March 15th, 2018. And man, you guys had it so close. I figured I'd swap it up a little bit, have some gaming news or gaming trivia. So this is what I'll say. For those of you who want to participate in trivia, well, here's how you do it. Submit your answer on Twitter by replying to the tweet with the question for today's trivia episode. The link to this tweet will also be listed in our show notes for this episode. This happens to be episode 90. So the first correct answer will be announced in the next episode along with your Twitter username. Now, I am taking suggestions. I am thinking of maybe doing a giveaway of sorts for those of you who guess. Just kind of, you know, like a community thing. So if you're interested in that, let me know. I'm open to suggestions right now on Twitter at TechNewsGadget. But if you want to play along, today's question is, who purchased the very first Tesla Roadster? I'll let you guys post your answers to the tweet that we post, and the first correct answer will be announced in the next episode. Moving on. All right, so before we can move on to the news of today, we always have to take a look back to appreciate this day in tech history. And being that today is March 18th, 2019, on this day in history in 1974, Atari introduces Grand Track 10. It is the first arcade game to use solid-state read-only memory to store sprites for each car, the game timer, the racetrack, and the score. As such, it's the first game to have defined characters rather than mathematically manipulated dots. The game's controls, which include a 4-position gear shifter, a steering wheel, and 2 foot pedals, are also all firsts for arcade games. So there you go. Atari had a new game. Also, on this day in history, in 1986, the New York Times reported that a 17-year-old student in New Jersey had tracked the launch of the new Soviet space station Mir before the Soviet government formally announced it. With a group of friends, Philip Naranjo tracked transmissions between space vessels and control centers on Earth just before the Russians announced mirror on February 20th, the teens had picked up some Cyrillic code. So, yeah, they're like, hey, is that a rocket? Rocket Man. There he goes again. Well, he figured it out. So, all right, that covers all of today in tech history. Let's get on over to the news, shall we? All right, first up today, in the biggest news that's all over mainstream media, I figured I might as well talk about it. Well, MySpace reportedly deleted years of music, but not just music, photos, videos, and more by accident, and it took people roughly about a year to figure it out. Now, this article is coming to us from Gizmodo, but it's all over the place. Apparently, this is kind of a problem. MySpace, one of the first social networking sites that allowed bands to share their music directly with fans, reportedly lost years of songs during a server transfer last week. Tellingly, however, the world only seems to have taken notice this week, and it's mainly because of the news cycle and BBC and other outlets are starting to report the problem. I guess more people complained about it, and they said, maybe we should take a look at it and report on it. Today, the BBC and other outlets reported that MySpace admitted to losing music, photos, and videos uploaded during its first 12 years of operation. But all these stories all appear to be citing statements shared by Reddit users last year. As a result of a server migration project, any photos, videos, and audio files you uploaded more than 3 years ago may no longer be available on or from MySpace, reads a message one Reddit user said. We apologize for the inconvenience and suggest that you retain your backup copies. Well, what if you don't? What if you're such an old band from a decade back that you totally forgot it? Well, apparently these files are also irreversibly corrupted. They couldn't figure out which end was spaghetti and which one was meatloaf. So they just kind of threw out the garbage too, and then burned it into a million pieces and scattered the ashes to the wind. So your stuff's gone. Isn't it great that you guys use MySpace? Oops. Yeah, don't, okay. See, I'd like to consider this a nice PSA moment to say, don't assume that any of the media or things that you create, whether that be code, programs, video, audio, software, whatever kind of content, yeah. Let's see, text, audio, video. Yeah. Make sure you retain a backup copy of it on your own servers or your own stuff so that you don't miss out on this stuff. Because if it goes down, if Facebook goes down, if YouTube goes down, whatever happens, crashes, burns, it's always good to have a backup. But yeah. The same Reddit thread, other users complained of being unable to access songs on MySpace and shared responses they said they received from the site. Another user claimed that in February of 2018, someone from MySpace support explained, there's an issue with all songs and videos uploaded over 3 years ago. We are aware of this issue and I have been informed the issue will be fixed. However, there's no exact time frame for when this will be completed. Hopefully the music will be coming back. Until this is resolved, the option to download is not available. This would mean that music uploaded before around 2015 could have been lost. So, this big news for you. When I mentioned this to my wife, she said, MySpace? What? Are they still around? I mean, I guess not. It goes to show how important it is. I think the audio is a little bit too hot here, so I'm going to turn down the mic just a little bit. There we go. Except maybe it was a little bit too much. Okay. So, there you have it. Good, bad, or otherwise, let me know what you think in the comments or on Facebook or Twitter. All right, also in the news today, apparently Elon Musk, see, he's coming back again. You just can't keep a good troll out of the news for too long. He always has to figure out a way to come back in. Apparently, Elon Musk-backed company launches a website to poke fun at DNA testing, and it's kind of hilarious. See that right there, guys? That photo? That's a troll face. DNA Friend is a new consumer genetics company that aims to rival 23andMe with its fastest and freest DNA testing service. The only difference? Well, it's a total parody. DNA Friend, which has both a website and a social media presence, is a creation of Thud, a new media project run by former Onion staffers and originally backed by Elon Musk. According to The Atlantic, Musk originally owned the business but sold it back to the former editors at The Onion, Ben Berkeley and Cole Bolton, back in January. Musk once referred to The Onion as the greatest publication in history of all conscious beings, living or dead, indicating a deep affinity for satire. The fact that Thud chose the DNA testing space as the first target is revealing. Health experts suggest the space is booming, with at-home DNA testing company 23andMe alone claiming to have more than 8 million users. Ancestry, its chief rival, has more than 10 million in its database, but the market, which is expected to be worth more than 22 billion by 2024, is also under fire for a range of issues, ranging from the lack of consumer privacy protections, recent involvements with law enforcement, and questionable clinical utility. Consumer genetics companies have a challenging job of building more applications of genomics to attract more customers, but also building applications responsibly to ensure scientific validity, said David Middleman, a former chief scientific officer of Family Tree DNA, a consumer genetics company, and a geneticist. So here you go, for an example. On its website and social media channels, DNA Friend rips right into DNA testing companies for charging consumers to tell them obvious things such as estimate of eye and hair color. One testimonial said, from Paulo, "I always suspected I had brown eyes, but DNA Friend finally confirmed it." This is trolling it. It's fine. This is great. This is hilarious. Another fake note of user feedback. A man named Carl noted, DNA Friend linked my DNA to a string of unsolved murders committed in LA during the 80s. It's a thinly veiled reference to the arrest of the alleged Golden State Killer, who was identified after more than 30 years when relatives uploaded their DNA to an open source website called GED Match. The arrest prompted debate about whether consumers are aware that their data could be used in criminal investigations. And that's not the only thing. Privacy is another hot topic, as DNA testing companies sometimes earn money by forging research details with pharma companies. To be fair, these companies typically do ask for consent, although most customers do not always read the terms and conditions. "We know that you're entrusting us with every intimate detail of who you are," the website jokes, "and we will never violate that trust by allowing your DNA to fall in the hands of anyone outside our corporate partnership network." Another testimonial said, from Julianne, "I was skeptical at first, but after carefully researching the process on the DNA Friend website and nowhere else, I took the plunge, and boy, I'm glad I did. Turns out my saliva is mostly European." The site is hilarious, and we're spending some time browsing, so it kind of reminds me at this point about clientsfromhell.com, which is another hilarious site, not related to any DNA testing of any sort, but well, like comedy often does, it also gets into some serious themes that's top of mind for many consumers. So, especially after the New York Times editorial board published a piece warning consumers about the potential pitfalls of placing too much trust in their DNA test results. These concerns centered around 23andMe's, one of their tests, which only looked for mutations in a handful of places where they're known to appear. So in other words, the authors were concerned that 23andMe might be providing a false reassurance to people who would otherwise seek medical care, not a doctor. But yeah, just keep that in mind. And I don't know, have you guys used a DNA test? I'm always flip-flopping. I'm like wondering, should I try it? Should I not try it? I'm hitting the microphone stand. Should I really? Is it worth doing at all? I mean, am I going to know anything different about me that I don't know already from conversations I've had with my parents, grandparents, relatives? You never know. I mean, it always is a touchy thing in terms when it comes to privacy, and I understand that. So I'd love to have a conversation on Twitter or Facebook. Be sure to let me know on there, and we can continue the conversation. Next piece that we have says Netflix will not be joining Apple's new TV service. Netflix, the world's dominant streaming service, will not make its TV shows and movies available through Apple Inc.'s upcoming video offering, Chief Executive Reed Hastings said on Monday. "We prefer to let our customers watch our content on our service," Hastings told reporters at the company's offices in Hollywood. "We have chosen not to integrate with their service." Now, obviously, I put some emphasis on it because I mean, if you're Netflix, you're like, come on, guys, we're not all going to be buddy-buddy. We have to, we're going to have our own service, and we want people to use their own service. So why wouldn't we have them to continue using our service, at which point I guarantee you Epic Games went, yeah, take that, Apple. Yeah, you want to go play our game? You can play that game too. Yeah, take that, Netflix. Netflix is like, well, we basically stream on all devices. We don't make our own, so... Well, Apple is expected to unveil a television video service at an event on March 25th, a move that will amp up competition for Netflix and others that deliver entertainment programming online. Sources familiar with the matter have told Reuters that the service may resell subscriptions from CBS Corp, Viacom, and Lionsgate Entertainment Corp stars, among others, as well as Apple's own original content. Walt Disney Company and AT&T's Warner Media also plan to offer subscription streaming services as well. Asked about the looming competition, Hastings said the biggest challenge for Netflix is to not get too distracted by rivals, but still learn lessons from them. These are amazing, large, well-funded companies with very significant efforts. They are going to do some great shows. I'm going to be envious. They're going to come up with some great ideas. We're going to want to borrow those. But he added, we will make this a better industry if we have great competitors. Hastings also said he expected Netflix, like other U.S. technology companies, to be blocked in China for a long time. So, there you have it. Netflix won't be joining it, but they'll remain their own app. Speaking of Apple, apparently a stunning concept video is showing us what Apple's foldable iPhone could look like. Now, I'm not going to be playing the full video. I'll be playing a little bit of the video, but if you're interested in wanting to see more, head on over to technewsgadget.net/9090. And it'll take you right to the show notes for this episode. Or if you're listening in the podcast app or podcast application of your choice, not necessarily on Apple, you should just be able to swipe or tap up or however you get more details. And the show notes, article links will be right there, clickable, tappable. All you got to do is click on it and it'll load it up right for you, huh? Wonders of technology. So apparently we're looking at a... Also, I forgot to mention, if you're listening to the audio version of this, there's video that goes along with this too. So if you are interested in wanting to actually see the video and see the images that we're showing right now, head on over to youtube.com/TechNewsGadget or facebook.com/TechNewsGadget. Now, are foldable phones the wave of the future or nothing more than a hyped up and passing fad? Hot bod? I don't know. A la 3D TV? That was a hot bod. Now, while I might be inclined to lean towards the latter, there's no denying that foldable phones like Samsung and Huawei have engendered an excitement in the smartphone market that we haven't seen in quite some time. Now, I'm reading what the author wrote of this article from BGR.com. Now, with some folks touting foldable devices as the next frontier for smartphones, it's no surprise that we've already started to see speculation about Apple entering the fray. I probably mentioned it myself in a couple episodes last week. Just last month, for example, Apple co-founder Steve Wozniak called on Apple to make a splash in the foldable phone market. Further, it's worth noting that Apple has already filed a number of patents pertaining to foldable iPhone designs. Now, before you get carried away with the thoughts of a sleek, foldable iPhone hitting store shelves anytime soon, keep in mind that Apple routinely files patents for products and technologies that never see the light of day. Still, it's sometimes fun to imagine what a futuristic foldable phone would look like, even if the odds of it ever becoming a reality appear to be slim, at least to this point. Now, we've seen a few foldable iPhone concept designs over the past few weeks, but the most recent example from Concept's iPhone might be the best one yet. The device imagined up here, dubbed the iPhone X Fold, is remarkably sleek and stands in stark contrast to Samsung's bulky Galaxy Fold. Even the concept packaging on this mythical device looks pretty cool. Of course, it's far from a fair comparison given that the Galaxy Fold is an actual device as opposed to a fantastical concept design. So, here, let's hit this video a little bit and let's see what we got. Pretty sleek indeed. What do you guys think? Foldable phone worth doing, or crazy idea that might never see the light of day? I don't know. Let me know in the comments or on Twitter @TechNewsGadget. Okay, so on to the gaming news. Smash Bros. Player apparently leaves a pivotal tournament match after getting frustrated with audience member. Now, if you're watching the video right now, you're seeing a dude get smashed right in the Kingdom Come, and he gets up and he starts walking off. Now, I do have the live stream clip of it, but I'll leave all of that on the article for you guys to go read more at and watch the video. Apparently, during the Smash Regional Collision 2019 in New Jersey last weekend, a Super Smash Bros. Ultimate match came to a halt when one of the competitors got annoyed with the gathered audience and walked off stage. He didn't just walk off stage, he actually threw a fit and walked off stage. That's not to say that there have been other individuals who have gotten so mad after losing a match that they actually take their controller and they smash it on the ground and smash it into a million pieces right in front of the audience. This isn't like that. Although it's just as bad. He was mad at an audience member. This left tournament organizers reeling for over an hour as they tried to come to a solution for both players. By Sunday afternoon, Collision 2019 Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Bracket had been whittled down to the top 32 players. Tyler Mars Martins and Justin Wishes Magnetti had done well for themselves up to this point and met in the winner's side of the bracket to decide who would move one step closer to the finals. As they entered the fifth and final game of their set, however, Mars began to look agitated, at one point getting up and shouting something at the audience cheering behind him. A few moments later, he appeared to give up by walking away from the match, leaving his opponent and a commentary team stunned. Now, it didn't take long for word on what he was upset about to come back to the broadcasting team. Apparently, someone in the crowd was calling out Mars' game plan. In this case, his proclivity as a zero-suit Samus player to jump after hanging on the ledge, which he felt constituted coaching his opponent. Now, while there's nothing in the official Collision 2019 guidelines that specifically discourages this, traditional Smash rules dictate that coaching is not allowed. This year's installment of Genesis, one of the biggest Smash events of the year, directly forbade coaching during the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate competition, and since many such rulings flow downwards directly from major tournaments to regionals like Collision, it's generally accepted that coaching isn't allowed anywhere unless specifically mentioned. Anyways, long story short, after an hour and a half of deliberation, Mars and Wishes finally returned to the stage to redo their match. Mars won, but neither player seemed happy. The audience looked deflated. The excitement of the match had been ruined. Mars would go on to win the entire tournament, while Wishes would bow out of Collisions at 9th place. Now, I'm noticing a problem here, especially when it comes to these player v player, the tournament type settings for like Tekken and Smash, is that the audience is too close to the players who are playing on screen. Now, I understand it's all cool having an audience like directly behind them and the screen can capture all of that going on in the background, but can you guys please take a page out of what League of Legends and Overwatch and Dota does for their players? They set them up on a stage apart from the audience, and they also give them something incredible. It's called headphones. It's unbelievable. It's like that would take care. I've never seen a match in any of those games where a player sitting up on stage wearing headphones looks over at an audience member, throws a fit, and stomps off on stage. Now, that's a little bit immature, if you want to call it that, and rightfully so. He should be ignoring what fans are flapping their gobs off about, because who cares? This is your moment. You're in the spotlight. You perform the best of your ability. Block out everything else. Who cares? Guess what? Here's something really interesting. If you're so good with a zero-suit Samus player on Smash, who cares what other people said? Here's an interesting fact. I was reading about this. The Tekken World Championships was won by a kid who played the worst champion in the game, Panda. He won a whopping $7,600 for it, but completely flipped on its head everything that Tekken had done world championships for years. I mean, there are players playing big, top-notch characters, and all of them, could swap between this champion and that champion. And he said, I literally just played Panda because I couldn't play any other character. And sorry if I'm ranting on this a little bit, but it kind of brings the point home, which is he couldn't play any other character. And it turned out when he tried playing other characters, he sucked at it. But it was his own journey, and his journey paid off in him winning the world championship at Tekken. Flipped everything on its head. So really, who cares? Play your game, have fun, quit throwing a fit about it. I don't know who cares what the audience says. You know what I say to them? Oh, good for you! Oh, that's great. Zoop, and I zone out. See, this is the problem that happens when you let the trolls get under your skin. Just ignore them. Otherwise, you get great commentary like this on Twitch and people standing around for an hour. Completely ruin the rest of the match. Completely ruin the excitement of everything. Completely killed the energy. Good job, you idiot. So that's all I'm going to say on that before I actually start getting mad. So, I don't know. Let me know your thoughts on Twitter. All right. Also in the news today for gaming news, a new Call of Duty game has been confirmed for mobile, teasing Battle Royale. Activision is bringing a new Call of Duty game to mobile devices, and now what appears to be the first trailer for the title has come online. We won't be watching the trailer here, but I'll have a link in the show notes for you to watch. The game, which appears to be simply titled Call of Duty Mobile, is a free-to-play game that promises heart-pounding, adrenaline-fueled action of Call of Duty with you wherever you go. The game features multiple game modes across a number of different maps, including popular ones like Nuketown and Crash. According to Activision, the game is optimized for mobile, but it's not exactly clear what that means in practice. At the end of the video, it appears Activision is teasing a Battle Royale mode. It's not confirmed yet at this stage either. Call of Duty Mobile also includes weapons and characters from previous Call of Duty games, including Black Ops and Modern Warfare. However, it's described as a standalone game that is not directly connected to any previous entry. Now, Activision is making Call of Duty Mobile with high-end phones in mind, but the studio is also working to allow it to be broadly accessible for as many other devices as well. Call of Duty Mobile is coming to Android and iOS, and you can pre-register now. Signing up gets you access to the opportunity to earn in-game rewards and learn about upcoming beta tests, which are set to begin later this year. So, you guys excited for Call of Duty Mobile? I'm not, but I figured I'd report it because I know there's people listening who are. And if you have a nice, relatively new smartphone, chances are pretty good that you'll be looking at playing it and enjoying it as well. If you're not already playing Fortnite or whatever other game. I rarely play games on my phone anymore. I rarely have any time. The only game I play is Pokemon Go, and I only spend like a whopping, I don't know, 5-10 minutes a day on it. You know, catching Pokemon, spinning gyms, kicking people out of gyms, and yelling at Jim, other, gym-related stuff. So, yeah, that's all I do. But for those of you interested in Call of Duty, here's your next shot to be the best on mobile. Yeah. All right, final article for today is, well, apparently there's some controversy going on in the gaming world. Apparently the Epic Game Store doesn't spy on people. There have been allegations that it has been, and people saying it isn't, and people saying it is, and I'm saying, who cares? Users investigating the Epic Game Store have come away with some concerns about how the code operates. Various posts at Reddit and Resetera have been filled with self-acknowledged amateur sleuthing and investigations on how the Epic Game Store works and how it behaves once installed. Epic CEO Tim Sweeney and VP of Engineering Daniel Vogel have taken to Reddit to discuss some of these findings, possibly kicking off additional controversy in the process. Now, there are several different threads of concern running through the initial remarks. Some users are concerned about Epic's association with Tencent and believe that this means Epic would distribute spyware through the Epic Game Store to gather data about user PCs in secret. Some users are angry about Epic convincing developers who had put a game up on Steam already to instead move it over to the EGS. Now, much of the behavior categorized by users as potentially suspicious, like enumerating running processes, really aren't. For the most part, this appears to be a tempest in a teacup. For example, the launcher does enumerate all currently running processes, so it can avoid attempting to update games that are already running. It uses a tracking pixel to cover the supported creator program so it can pay creators. Code for various functions like the hardware survey and the UDP traffic created by an Unreal Editor communication function can be found on GitHub. Epic's VP of Engineering Dan Vogel responded to some of these concerns in his own post, but Sweeney does acknowledge one point where gamers have a genuine complaint. At launch, the Epic Game Store scans and makes an encrypted copy of the local config.vdf Steam file. He writes, "We only import your Steam friends with your explicit permission. The launcher makes an encrypted local copy of your local config.vdf Steam file. However, information from this file is only sent to Epic if you choose to import your Steam friends, and then only hash IDs of your friends are sent and no other information from the file." Epic users have been asking Epic why they would need to import this information anyway, given that Steam includes APIs that allow other applications to access this sort of data without scanning files in other folders. His response didn't go over particularly well. But yeah. Now he doesn't, while you might not agree with Sweeney's decision on this topic, there's a hard time arguing with the logic. In a world where Facebook deliberately shares private and personal information on tens of millions of people with companies that should have been allowed to see in the first place, the idea that scanning a single file for a list of friends you won't even upload without permission would constitute a privacy violation is pretty laughable by comparison. So there is, as far as we can tell, no evidence that the Epic Game Store is spying on people or performing untold PC monitoring. Apparently the author would love to end the story about a discussion of how frustration with Epic's policies might be a sign Silicon Valley would start to consider user privacy more seriously and take more steps to secure it. But honestly, he's not feeling that optimistic. But yeah, here you go. What are your thoughts? I mean, I have the Epic Game Store. I don't really care. What's it gonna do? Nothing. Software. In a privacy-laden world, what do you do but disconnect from any? I just figured out the problem to it, guys. Here's the best way to remain completely anonymous and disconnected and have all of your privacy remain intact. You know that Ethernet cable that's on the back port of your computer if you're hardwired into the internet? Unplug it. Or if you're connected to the Wi-Fi, pull out the Wi-Fi card from your computer, snap it in half, and then nobody will have any access to any of your information anywhere. Now, the downside will suck that you won't have any access to the internet and information that you make available to people because you signed the terms and conditions and never read it. But that's on you. But now it's not anymore because you took control back. You don't have any internet. Do I get my point across? Am I getting my point? If I'm not, let me know. If I am, let me know. I'd love to continue the discussion. All this privacy stuff is actually making it kind of stupid. These poor AI software and all of this stuff where... Anyways, I'm getting off topic. Like, I'm super excited about AI and everything that encompasses it moving forward. But dealing with this whole privacy stuff on some level is just becoming really borderline stupid. They found out I checked into this place today. They don't have my permission to do that. Yeah, they do. You checked in on it in a public location, in public, on a smartphone, connected to the internet that you set to public. Oh my gosh. You didn't have my permission to know. Yeah, they did. You gave them permission. And if you seriously don't know, this would be a great time to go look at the terms and conditions of the sites that you're signing up for free. That's what the trade-off is. You sign up for free, your information will be used. It'll be encrypted, it'll be kept safe, but it will be used. You think? Hello. Okay, well, I should probably finish this up before I actually start flipping my lid. So that wraps up this episode of the Latest in Tech News. Thanks for tuning in. New episodes every weekday. The Latest in Tech News is available as an audio podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, Overcast, and everywhere else podcasts are heard, and available as a video podcast on YouTube and Facebook. By the way, if we missed something on the show that you wanted to hear about, let us know on our Twitter and Facebook pages. If you enjoyed this episode, we'd love it if you could give us a 5-star rating and tell your friends how to subscribe as well. I'm your host, Taylor American. Remember, for the latest in tech, gadget, and gaming news, visit TechNewsGadget.net. Pretty much, keep being awesome, guys, and I'll see you on the flip side.